We are now just hours away from what political experts are calling one of the most consequential primary elections in Wisconsin history. Right now, 4 candidates are vying for a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court: Dan Kelly, Janet Protasewicz, Jennifer Dorow, and Everett Mitchell. After tomorrow, there will only be 2 candidates remaining. Ward Jollis is following this race for the Supreme Court tonight. And Ward, the stakes for candidates on both sides of the aisle have never been higher.
Yeah, that's right, Amber. Well, what's at stake right now is the balance of power on the court. The court currently holds a conservative 4-3 majority, but conservative Justice Pat Roggensack is retiring. And with that majority at stake, everything from abortion rights to gerrymandering is on the ballot, too. Tonight, the balance of the Wisconsin Supreme Court faces its first hurdle. Voters head to the polls Tuesday to narrow the field of 4 candidates to just 2 in Wisconsin's nonpartisan primary.
This is going to be a truly historic election when we consider the amount of money raised, the amount of attention that gets devoted to this election.
2 liberals and 2 conservatives face off. Among the liberals, Dane County Circuit Court Judge Everett Mitchell and Milwaukee Circuit Court Judge Janet Protasewicz. The conservatives, Waukesha County Judge Jennifer Dorow and former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Daniel Kelly. The 2 with the most votes, regardless of party, advance to the general election on April 4th. The fate of major political issues like Wisconsin's 1849 abortion ban on the line.
If the Supreme Court election went to a liberal candidate, it's quite likely that the law would get contested in the state Supreme Court, and we might then predict that that law would be overturned, kind of reestablishing abortion rights in Wisconsin.
The current makeup of the court has a 4-3 conservative majority, but 1 conservative justice is retiring. That means if Mitchell or Protasewicz wins in April, the liberals will hold the majority. But if one of the conservatives wins, they retain power and will preside over decisions with major implications. The race also set to break funding records.
We are going to blow past the record of $15 million for the most expensive judicial election in history.
But the funding is something that raises ethical concerns, too. Some worried that generous campaign donations might influence court decisions down the line.
I think we're getting to a point where we ought to really be having a serious discussion whether we ought to have an appointed judiciary.
So obviously a big decision for voters to make tomorrow. Are there any clear frontrunners in this race?
Yeah, well, if you believe like I do that the money talks, then one might say that Janet Protasewicz is the clear frontrunner in this race. She has by far raised more money than any other candidate, more than $2 million to date. But again, experts say one thing to keep in mind is that these elections with low voter turnout typically are even more unpredictable than your typical election.
Okay, Ward, of course, we're following this closely tomorrow. Thank you.